This week on Building Charles James, I create a white oak sample for one of my clients who's looking for a finish to protect his bar. I start my morning off at a local hardware store looking for a polyurethane brush, something that would be extremely fine and soft, 3-inch preferably. There's a good selection here. Found Eco Brush, which avoids all the non-recyclable materials, and they've created an all-natural brush. I'm gonna go with this one. Bag of rags are like a lifesaver to me. I use them all the time, and I run out of them so often. So I actually made a bag of rags of my own with all the extra t-shirts that I wasn't using anymore. So look at this beautiful day. Still like 100 out in LA, but we're killing it. Bag of rags, 3-inch brush. Eco, we're actually getting eco with this stuff now. I actually dig it. Everything I do is quite eco, so I try to be as earth conscious as possible. So as soon as I turn on the Festool 3, basically the HEPA filter, vacuum, dust extractor turns on as well. Vacuum just turned off right after. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna go ahead and hit this with 80, then hit it with 150, and see what happens. It's so amazing. I'm sanding and there's no dust. This is so crazy. This is definitely picking up at least 90% or 95% of whatever they claim for it to pick up. It's epic. The Festool 3 Orbital sander is so epic. I'm so in love with this tool. Again, we're ready to go ahead and put some polyurethane on this. It's one of the whole purposes of me picking up the Festool 3 as well as the HEPA dust extractor, because I'm going to go ahead and be working inside of a restaurant, and that's one of the most crucial places as well as a home to make sure your dust is completely under control. Part of doing a good job when you do a project like a bar, refinishing a bar, or doing some tables inside of a restaurant, or whatever it may be, or something inside your house, you just really have to prep, then do the job, and understand how you're going to finish it off, you know? Understanding the whole thing, not just jumping into it and doing it, kind of leaves you without too many questions in the end. You know exactly how things are going to pan out, and or be prepared to clean up those messes and make sure your project comes out perfect. So here we go. I think it's kind of funny, when I used the Orbital 3, I didn't even put on my dust mask, and I always put on my dust mask. So this is a huge step. I'm always still gonna wear this, but I just found myself not wearing it because I didn't notice any dust when I was using the unit. I'm gonna go with Aquazar, which is water-based polyurethane, and I found it in a clear antique flat. Since the bar was done with a gray monocoat, I thought this would be an added protection, since my client is actually looking for a little bit more, since he's starting to see stains on the top of the monocoat. So we're gonna go with 3 coats of this and see how this protects. Alright. I can already feel the protection on here. It's extremely smooth, and I can tell since we used a soft brush, there's no brush streaks in here, which is fantastic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit it with 350 grit just to kind of dial it in for the next layer. So now for the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm gonna go ahead and put some bitters, cherry juice, and some red wine on here. So red dessert wine, but I think it's gonna be just fine. And I left them all for 10 minutes, just kind of resembling a busy bartender, not able to clean up their mess. As soon as I wiped the paper towel, I knew the bitters had stained, and this experiment failed because I wasn't able to protect the bar from bitters, and that's what the client wanted in the first place. So we're gonna have to go to more of an epoxy-based sealant, which that's not really what they wanted to go for because it's thicker and it looks a lot different than a polyurethane. If you liked this week's video, please give it a thumbs up. Some of the greatest people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. This week, the bitters beat us. Next week on Building Charles James, I ran into a few fishing poles that have been hanging around the garage that need a better place to live. So we look around the shop and find a couple pieces of African mahogany, and you can see what happens next week. Subscribe below so you don't miss out.